What's up, people? So, very interesting video. This is not only for the people that follow me, but for a whole bunch of other people that are very curious about the psychedelic experience and what it's all about. So, for the past month, I've been very curious about psychedelics. Everything from ayahuasca to psilocybin, to LSD, all of it. And I did a lot of research and finally got to a point where I said, you know what, Nathaniel, I want to finally go on this trip and find out what it's all about. And for the first time last night, I took 3 grams of psilocybin mushrooms, which funny enough came in like it was infused with honey. So in terms of being able to digest it, it was very simple. So essentially, I'm going to take you on my first trip and exactly what I saw. And I'm going to try and do this video as much justice, even though I don't feel like I will. Because anyone who's had a psychedelic experience will tell you that I thought I had snot in my nose and it was sticking out. Anyways, anyone that does the experience will tell you that there's no way the English language or any language for that matter will truly be able to describe the feeling of being on a psychedelic and what you learn, what you see, what you experience, what you feel, what you appreciate, what you're scared of, all those things. It's really, I won't do it justice, but I'm going to try my best to give you an idea of what I went through. So I took it at 20 past 7 and they normally say it kicks in after like a half an hour, and I'm waiting. And I think what's also important to realize is the set and setting of the whole experience, but maybe I'll get into that a little later on. So a half an hour goes by and I'm like, "Puh, nothing's happening." An hour goes by and I'm like, "Puh, nothing's happening." And a little over an hour while sitting in my room, I say, okay, fine. I guess that's it. I'm gonna close my eyes. And out of nowhere, it's like someone slapped me with all the patterns and colors in a coloring book you could possibly imagine. My visual cortex just got stimulated and got slapped in the face with every single color, pattern, you could possibly see. So the whole geometric shapes, the circles with the fine details and the colors and colors and colors. It's like peacock feathers, but like in flipping not 4D, like 16D or 800D. Like you see details of colors and shapes and patterns like you've never seen before. And at that point, I still had like I had like a third party experience. I don't know about others, but in my mind, I was like, okay. Okay, so this is a trip. Okay, cool. And I kind of went through all of like in terms of shapes and colors, I went through that experience on, like, I was walking through Gold Reef City and looking at everything and I'm like, damn, and it's beautiful. Oh, the color schemes and the patterns and the shapes and how it all just turns and then flattens and goes into something else and then waves. Beautiful. It is the most fascinating thing. Like your mind just sits there like a little child just staring at everything. And I remember, dude, I think this state wanted to remain like, But for some odd reason, whatever was happening within me forced a smile. So I closed my eyes and I just had a permanent smile on my face. I had no anger. My anxiety disappeared. My stress, I didn't worry about anything. I just focused on this beautiful experience, just being mesmerized by just colors and shapes. And every time I open my eyes and close my eye, it's a different kind of spectrum I'm being thrown into. So I then say to myself, okay, cool, Nathaniel, I think I'm tripping. I think this is the trip. But I felt like I wanted more. Because when I set my intention when taking the psychedelic, I set my intention to like really experience this over the top kind of meeting entities, meeting my spirit guides, talking to people. When I open my eyes, I see like my not my ghosts, but other people's ghosts, and like I was ready to have that kind of experience, but I didn't have that. I didn't have that. Um, so I'm still thinking I'm gonna get to that point. So I say, okay, cool. What if I listen to music? I see the shapes, and I was like, cool, cool. I get the shapes, but I want to listen to music. And I think that's where I just stimulated the trip to another level. I've never heard. Listen, yeah, I enjoy listening to scores from from different movies because I naturally am drawn to the emotion that a score is able to develop, and I enjoy listening to classical music. So I start playing that, and I've never heard music that beautiful in my life. I can't explain to you the fucking feeling, but the closest thing to it was I felt so shy because I got invited to dance with music. I felt like I was sitting in a corner watching music, hearing music, and then music came over to me, put its hand out, and said, "Do you want to dance?" And I felt like a child, I felt like a kid, and I was shy, but I was willing, and I was just mesmerized by music. And when music pulled me in, music basically, do you know what it did with the song? I mean, the song is only 3 minutes, but it didn't feel like 3 minutes. It felt like the song was like a half an hour, and it was this movie that I felt and watched and was part of. And it felt like music introduced me to every single sound. Every single sound. So music said, okay, cool, there's the guitar. Go get to know the guitar sound. And I spoke to guitar. And then I moved over to drum. I moved over to snares. I moved over to all the orchestra. I mean, when you listen to classic, there's so many sounds going on. But music basically introduced me to every single sound, and I got to know every sound personally. And when I got to know every sound personally, I got to experience and really appreciate the culmination of the whole song in a way that, again, I cannot explain in words. And I just felt like I was like, music took me and just drifted me around and said, this is what it feels like. And I heard music. I mean, I've listened to this song so many times, but I've never heard it like this. Never in my life. I was like, what the fuck? Wait. I felt like it was a brand new song. Like I'd never heard music like that. Like it was so, it's like my hearing was just my, the tuning and, what I took note of in terms of detail. I could hear the pauses, I could hear the transitions, but with so much detail. And to me, who loves music, I mean, I appreciated that so much. Like, I felt so loved in that moment. I felt so embraced in that moment. I felt appreciated. I felt enough in that moment. I was comforted by a feeling that I cannot describe besides, being, when you're a child and your mom just holds you and protects you. That's what it felt like. I don't know who gave me that feeling, whether it was the universe, but I felt a very warm embrace, and I didn't worry about anything. And that's when I moved into this transition. So I got up and I started looking at things, and I really looked at it. And I think that's the second part of the trip. Like, you appreciate very simple things. And anyone from an outside state, which I call a numb state now, because I realize the difference between being on a trip and being numb. Right now, I'm numb. The normal body does not appreciate something as simple as a plant. Because when I stared at a plant that I had at my windowsill, I'd never seen something that beautiful. I remember thinking to myself, how the fuck have I see this plant every day, and I've never really taken note of how beautiful this thing is. And to anyone outside of the trip, they would think, that's stupid. This guy's weird. What the hell are you doing? But to me, I've never seen such a beautiful plant in my life. I appreciated that plant. I appreciated its angles, everything about it made sense and it was beautiful. And there was a moment where I then drifted into my own existence and my own understanding of what I am. And I think I just appreciated myself. I just appreciated who I was. I remember I started thinking about my brother, and I just wanted to give him a hug. Like I actually I wanted the trip to end so that I can just give everyone I care for a hug. Like I really just wanted to embrace them and really, really hug them. And I remember as in when I was coming to a point where I realized, okay, cool, things are slowly wearing off. I remember opening my eyes and I actually saw what I believe is the flow of energy. So it was like a river of like rain just slowly moving in like downwards like that. And this is in thin air. I'm looking at a wall and I can see like this movement of like thin. It's flipping hard to explain, but it's like another layer, and I got to see energy, and it's just doing that and like moving, like I could actually see energy. And as soon as you snap off, like right now I can't see what I saw, but I know it, that's how it looks like. So in this everyday like scheme, like we don't see that shit, but when you're on the psychedelic, you see it and you're aware of it and you appreciate it and you're like, oh, so that's actually what's happening. I've been blind to this shit. And I remember like just before I got off the trip, like there was an inclination of a framework that exists. I could see like patterns and outlines and structures, but it's nearly like my trip wasn't high enough to really explore that. Like, think of it like a window. The trip gave me a window into what was there, but I needed a higher dosage to really immerse myself and really understand what was going on. Did I see any demons? Did I feel any fear? No. And I think that is the difference. If you respect the psychedelic, it will respect you. And I truly believe a psychedelic only shows you what you are hiding and containing and pretending to not have from other people. Um, People who have bad trips probably have a bad setting, don't set their intentions, and there's a lot of shit that inside of them they're hiding. So they go out into the world and they pretend that they're good people, they pretend that everything is fine. And what a psychedelic does is it strips away that, it strips away all of that and says, okay, stop pretending, let me show you exactly who you are and what you are hiding. And then people go through this horrible experience because it's not like a human being saying, hey, listen here, you're full of shit. It's you telling you, you full of shit. You are evil. You are bad. You are wrong. You should stop this. And people can't handle their own criticism. They can't handle themselves telling themselves, yo, you are going through a very bad experience. And if you don't stop being this ugly person and how you're affecting people, this is what's going to end, how you're going to end up. I remember seeing stuff that I guess to the outside mind would be scary, but I didn't feel fear. I think I accepted everything, and I had a willing heart. I wanted to see everything and I wanted to experience everything. Do I feel like I did? No. I feel like I literally only got a small dose of what some people describe as a psychedelic experience. I got the romantic side of it. I really enjoyed what I went through last night, and like I said, I respected the psychedelic. I didn't I ate one I had wheat bix in the beginning of the day, and I didn't eat anything else for the rest of the day to prepare myself for it. Um, and Yeah, I think my next my next experience, I definitely want to go a couple of doses up. So I probably want to push towards 10, 15 in terms of psilocybin. And then after that, I want to, jump onto the San Pedro and ayahuasca. I know those are very different beasts on their own, and I probably will get to maybe see what I'm looking for. Um, and in no way, shape, or form am I trying to encourage anyone to do psychedelics. I think I just wanted to give my opinion on psychedelics because, well, psilocybin specifically, because I literally a few days ago was very curious about what it would do, whether it would help me, whether it won't help me. But it is really more a introspective kind of experience that teaches and is willing to show you what you are willing to see. There's a lot of debate around the ego and what it does with the ego. So what came to me during that experience was that your ego is not going to die when you take psychedelics. I don't think it dies. I believe what you realize, a conscious mind realizes that an ego is like a speeding car. And even if you tell the ego, hey, listen here, you need to slow down, it's not going to slow down, right? So you need to treat and understand the ego and play the ego at its own game. So the ego is very concerned about itself. So what you do, you place like a speed bump in the road. So this ego keeps on speeding, and you place speed bumps in the road. Now, because the ego is so concerned about damaging itself and looking perfect and protecting itself, it won't go over the speed bump super fast. It won't treat the street as this playground where it can just ride and drive as fast as it wants. So you place speed bumps in every single street, that being your mind, and you allow the ego to then slow down, and you, to a certain degree, control the ego, and you don't kill it, you don't get rid of it, you just allow it to slow down and calm down when it needs to calm down. And I think that's what a conscious mind is like. A conscious mind does not want to get rid of the ego. A conscious mind appreciates the ego, thanks the ego, and controls the ego in a way where it doesn't harm itself and it doesn't harm, the other environments that the ego, because the ego takes place in a whole bigger ecosystem, and it's about making sure that it doesn't infringe in the other, departments of the mind. So you just set up an environment where the ego looks after itself and doesn't hurt itself. And when you do that, you get the best out of it as opposed to destroying it. And that's how I understand it. That's what came to me last night. So will I do it again? Definitely. I'll definitely shoot up the dosage. And I'll let you guys know what that experience was like. I'll definitely go as far. Ooh, what? That is a bird I've never seen before. It looks like an eagle. Oh, that is rare. That is really rare. Was that a token? That might be a token. It's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's a beautiful bird. It's just gliding. That might be a token. So, I got distracted. So I definitely want to try out ayahuasca. I know that in terms of like nausea, I'm probably gonna go through the most, and I hate nausea. Definitely gonna do San Pedro, and definitely I'm gonna film not the experience, but more afterwards what I felt, and help you guys, especially those who are very curious about it and like me knew absolutely nothing and finally got into it. I'm gonna give you exactly what I felt, make you understand to the best of my ability, and what the effects of it is afterwards. I feel calm a day after, the night after. And like I said, I'm at peace. I really am at peace. And what I enjoy about my trip is that I did it with crystals. I did it with saying a prayer. I had my candles. So all of that kind of helps. And I think my spirit guides protected me on my journey, protected me from any fear. I had a red band over my waist, which is, also seen as protection on the journey. So overall, I had a beautiful first trip, but I got a taste. It was really a taste. It was a lick and a promise. It wasn't what I expected to be fully immersed, and I think I realized I can go further. I really can go further, and I hope this gives you an idea of what the psilocybin, experience is like. Note that what my experience will be very different to your experience. So don't try and compare. Yours is unique and will be unique, and learn as much as you can from it. Don't try and change it, just accept it. That's what I got out of it. Just accepting and embracing, and both evil and negative, and the beautiful and positive. So yeah, that's my trip in a nutshell. I know that took long. That's 20 minutes, but hopefully I was able to paint the picture for you. And if you want to see more of this, definitely do subscribe to the channel. If you're watching this on IGTV, which I doubt because the video is very long, do make sure to like and subscribe, and share to your stories. And peace, love, and happiness.